And she said, yeah, I can tell you haven't ever like really done anything with other people, but I also think you've met your soulmate already. You've met your soulmate. I'm like, oh, really? She said, yeah, you've met your soulmate, but you're not able to commit or do anything because of your own fears and your own traumas in the past. And you're a troubled soul. And you need help. I said, what? You need help. And I can help you. She's like, well, she just looked at me and said, I don't ever see there being a man in your life ever. And then I got into jewelry. I got into rings, boys. I finally got into rings. I got some cute rings. And after we went to this little vintage ring shop, we were thinking to ourselves, we were doing a thing called Dillydallying. That's where you just fuck around and find out. You see a store, you just walk into that store. We walked by a psychic reading place. I've never gotten a psychic reading before. I've gotten tarot card readings before, and you guys know how that went. I've never gotten a psychic reading, and we said, you know what, why don't we just do it for fun? So we walked by it, and we passed it. And then I look at Hami and I ask her, do you think we should do it after all? And she said, yeah, I mean, maybe we should. And so I slightly turned my head and there's the psychic, the woman, she was already looking at me from the window. And she pointed at me specifically and just said, come on. I said, what the fuck? I walk over to the establishment. She lets me and Hami in. And then, Avery was in there with us too. And she said, yeah, y'all run a reading. Oh, yeah, you can wait outside. So Avery had to wait outside. And then the lady's mother took Hami into the other room. And then I sat down with this woman. She said, yeah, I noticed you. I noticed you walking down the street and I sensed your chakras. Oh, you sensed my chakras? She said, yes. So tell me your name and, tell me your birthday. And I said, okay, this is my name. I'm Numi, Numi Ana Grande, Agatha Baboingo. And I'm 100 and 106. And she said, I can tell your vibes from here. I said, what do you mean? She clocked my shit, Noombas. She clocked my shit. It was kind of crazy. Because I was just sitting there. I said, yeah, I'm just here with my girls. And then she's like, oh, are those are your friends, huh? They're your roommates? And I said, well, yes. And then she said, yeah, I'm just looking at you and I could tell you're a troubled soul. I said, what do you mean by that? She's like, I'm looking at you and you look like somebody that, you're somebody that gives. All you do is give to each other and you want somebody to give you something back, but nobody ever gives you things back. And so it troubles you and it makes you sad. Gagged me, bro. I was a little speechless at that point. I said, what the fuck? And she said, yeah, I can tell that something happened to you specifically when you were a teenager at this year to this year, which was the exact fucking year that something, that my trauma happened to me. And she said, yeah, so tell me about that. What happened here? And then I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, yeah, this happened to me. And then she said, yeah, I could tell. And that's probably what led this and this to happen into your life and why your soul is troubled. And then I could tell that you lost somebody really close to you last year. She died. Tell me about her. Yeah. My aunt? Bro, was she stalking me? She was in my walls. I was like, what the fuck? She said, yeah, this person, they were really close to you and then they left your life and, you feel a little troubled. Also, everything that's happened to you has led you to get to a point where you feel like you're stuck and you don't know where you're supposed to go. And it keeps you from making choices and conscious decisions where you're able to move forward and you're able to become a person that you've always wanted to become. Damn, bitch. And she said, yeah, I can tell you haven't ever really done anything with other people, but I also think you've met your soulmate already. You've met your soulmate. I'm like, oh, really? She said, yeah, you met your soulmate, but you're not able to commit or do anything because of your own fears and your own traumas in the past. And you're a troubled soul. And you need help. I said, what? You need help. And I can help you. I said, oh my God, she's going to help me. And she said, normally I charge $650, but for you, I'll charge $200 and I'll waive the fee of today's thing. And I said, oh, bro, you were on a roll, and then what? Oh my God. She said, yeah, after a couple hours, I'll give you your full reading, and then, you know, I'll figure out how to help you. So let me help you. And I said, oh, you know, I'm just gonna sit on this. And she said, you know, sitting on things is what makes things gurgle and get worse. You're a troubled soul. Why won't you let me help you? And I said, I'm just, you know, I started antidepressants. You know, I'm gonna see how that one rides out. And she said, all right, so yeah, is that gonna be Venmo or Zelle or cash or card? Oh my God. You met the love of your life, and you can unlock just who it is with 5 easy payments of $395.95. So is that gonna be Zelle or Venmo? I said, all right, girl. I'm like, all right. And then after that, Hami comes out, and Hami's like, yeah, it was her mom that gave me the reading, and I think her kid was there the whole time just staring at me while I was getting the reading, but she clocked my ass. It's like she was in my walls or something. I said, what do you mean by that, Hami? What did she say? She's like, well, she just looked at me and said, I don't ever see there being a man in your life ever. I said, girl, well, like, fork found in kitchen, like what? And she said, oh. I'm like, okay. And then we just kept walking. Like, all right, girl, like, is that really that crazy? All right, all right. Anyways. She's like, oh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but, you know, Soul Red, that was a really crazy experience. I think that was the first time I've ever gotten any kind of reading that wasn't related to business. So that was interesting. You know, I take what I can get. And if my soulmate is out there, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry that I didn't pay the extra $200 fee to figure out how we can be together. That's my bad. I'm so sorry. I just the vibes were a little off is all I'm gonna say. -1 soulmate. My bad. Clearly a fake. Didn't talk about business. Well, she did, but briefly. You know, they always bring up business. They're like, yeah, you're very successful and you help people, but they never give you the same love back that you want. And I was like, oh my God, stop. Oh my God, stop. Yeah. I don't ever see anybody in your life unless you give me 3 easy payments of this blah blah blah. So will that be cash, card, or Zelle or Venmo? Let me know. Cash App? I do Cash App too. I'm like, oh, get me out of here. Yeah, but she did clock me. She said, I can read it. Your chakra, your third eye opened. Your chakras are unlocking and they're screaming for help. Never heard somebody use the word chakra that many times. And I was telling Michi about it. I was like, Pookie, she said my third eye and my chakras open. She said, chakras? I said, yes, not my whole, my chakras. But yeah, after that, we were just doing a little shopping spree, and then we met up with Holmes and MJ to watch a show.
You can find your soulmate, but they don't take MasterCard SMH.
Yeah, I found your soulmate. I pay the price. She's like, oh yeah, I'm your soulmate. I'm like, right. Okay. No, I see what you just did. I see what you did there. I see. She's the shaman from Squid Game. It was me all along. Ha! You thought? No, it was me. It's time to get ready and get married, baby. Oh my God. Anyway.
We charge a 3% fee for credit cards on Soulmate.
Sickening. Sickening. Guys, I never would have ever imagined that my soulmate is locked behind a paywall. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. Anyways. Oh my God, what if the next time I go to a psychic, they find out my soulmate by using a game of like Plinko or something. It's time to play Plinko. Yeah.
Oh, happy anniversary, Numi!
Sorry, I just forgot to turn my anime mode on.
Oh,
Anyways, you just reminded me that today's the day.
the day? Friday?
Yes! Friday the 20th, the day my 5-year anniversary merch drop goes live.
Aw, shit!
Yes, sir. For a limited time, you can grab a special anniversary cup, a shirt, tech deck, and a skateboard.
Norway.
But wait, there's more. You also have a limited time to grab my favorite piece of merch, the work jacket. God, I love it so much.
Oh my God, I'll take 20.
No.
Why?
But you guys watching can. Grab yours now while they're still available. Yippee!
Wait, why can't I get one?
Because you fucking suck.
No, you suck.
You were just
Girl,
having
I get
If you want to get something in advance with that 20% off using code AQUA or any of your favorite creators' code, you can get some Numi merch. It's a new cup, Numiverse cup. Look at the jacket, it's so cool. And there's a shirt, and then there's a little finger skateboard. Look at the real skate deck. Wow!
Quick word from our sponsor, me, myself, and I. We have a new Gamer Subs flavor out now called Kissy Kissy Passion that tastes just like me. What? A delicious passion fruit mango. So yum yum. Try it for yourself today. Thanks.
Guys, are you a Noomba? Or do you like hot ladies, hot demon ladies? First of all, ladies' nuts in your mouth. You can use code NUMI. It's code Numi, right? Is it code Numi? It has to be code Numi. Why would it not be code Numi? For 10% off! So you get some pre-order on the V cards because Numi's is in set 3 as well. You can try and get your hands on some Numi V cards so that next time you go on a meet and greet, you can ask her to sign them. But also check out Kissy Kissy Passion. It is literally my favorite flavor in Gamer Subs. So, if you like passion fruits, check out Kissy Kissy Passion. For your daily caffeinated drink, and if you don't like caffeine, there's a caffeine-free version too. It's sugar-free. It has daily nutrition in there too, so you should check that out.